Welcome to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yance, and this is part 4 of my interview with Nachela Knox. She is a director, a producer, a writer, and a casting director. Enjoy. Let's talk about G. Davis Productions. How did you get involved with them?
Yeah, so when I was in college, probably about my junior, senior year, I was, trying to see what I could do. Like I did not want to go work a corporate job or 9 to 5 job. I really didn't want to do that. But I
Hmm.
also wasn't in a position that I could just move to, say, New York, Atlanta, LA. I couldn't do that. So I was looking for, film companies or, production companies that were local to the area. G Davis, I actually went and saw one of the plays they did. They did a play. It was called Daddy's Boys. They did a play in Greensboro. The production of the play was very good. And, one of my friends was like, hey, like, why don't you reach out to them and just see? Yeah, I mean, it is a company, it is local, like, just reach out. So I reached out and I was kind of like a intern almost or like an assistant. So like my job at first was just, being there, like taking notes at meetings and,
Yeah.
doing that. I did that probably my junior, senior year. And then when I moved to back home to Charlotte, I was going back and forth. So like if he was like, hey, we have a meeting in the office and we need you to be there, can you come up? I did that because I wanted to show that I was willing to do the work. I always do the work. So we did that, and then I decided I was actually going to move to Winston. My sign that I was going to move to Winston was if I applied to any of these jobs in Winston and they call me for an interview, then I'm going to move.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So once I moved up here, he was like, hey, let's start a film division. I'll make you the head of the film division. And we did that. And that's how that kind of went for almost
Wonderful.
almost 2 years.
So you start Go Get Her Productions. How'd that come about?
When you watch somebody run a company and you see what it takes to run a company and you look and think about all the things that you would have done differently, then it makes you think like, well, why don't I just go do that myself?
Yeah.
Like it takes time to, you know, get to a certain level, yeah, but why not? Like I like creating my own content. I've been in a position where I have managed people. I have been over projects. I have, written scripts and completed them. So I know I can go and do that for somebody else. If you call me and give me a script and say, "Hey, can you help me produce it?" I absolutely can. As long as you have the budget, we're good. So, it's like I might as well do that. So the name is like Go Getter because I consider myself a go getter. Like that's supposed to be me. Can you see it?
Yeah. 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 Oh. Oh yeah. Oh, I can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
so
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, like
So,
if I want something, I'm gonna go get it. That's what we do. We go get it.
so what services do you offer?
So I do directing, of course. If you need a director for, short film, feature film, we do that. I offer screenwriting services. I do short films, feature films, also offer production management. So what that is so you can couple in my services plus what I would outsource. So I don't do like I'm not a DP. I don't do sound. I don't do editing. I don't do that. However, I
Mhm.
can outsource it. So I would get with
Okay.
you to say, okay, we have $20,000. This is my fee. This is how we're gonna break this budget down. And for I don't know, we just throw a number out here. I can go and get a DP for $10,000. And I will go and facilitate all of those interviews. Like I manage the whole production so we can put it together. So I do that. I also do casting. So I cast as well for short films and feature films as well. And then for my actors, I do virtual self tape or coaching sessions. So if you have like a self tape you want to do, we can set it up Zoom or, FaceTime. However, I'll be your reader. If you want the feedback, I will give you the feedback. Or if you have a role or something like that,
Yeah.
I'll offer the feedback as well. I have to send you my receipt.
How do
But
you
yeah.
how do you do that with when you're doing your when you're taping it through Zoom? How do you do it so that, it doesn't cut to you? Or do you just edit it out?
Oh, like what they will do is they'll have their own setup, like their own
Yeah.
self-tape setup. So it's like wherever the camera is, I'm either slightly to the left or to the right. So I can still hear them and I can still see them and the camera can still pick me up, when I'm reading the line.
Yeah, so casting. Let's talk about casting. What's your process? How do you present casting?
So, once I have all my character breakdowns and I get them uploaded into the different sites, so I use Actors Access, 800 Casting, breakdown services. They'll post them. I've been doing it for a little while, so I think my calls get flagged, and then the sites will kind of automatically post them for me. Like I didn't
Mm,
actually put it there, but they're like, "Oh, she does this," so they'll pop up on like IMDb or the Southern Casting Call. People will
yeah,
repost them. So basically, once I get all the submissions in, the first thing I do is let's just go by look, like just by look. Do you fit the look of this character? Narrow it down from there. And then from there, I'm going straight to, I normally like to look at like a reel before I do self-tape requests. So I'll go
mm,
through that, narrow that down to the people where I'm like, okay, I think that I want to see them. Like I want to see them do this
yeah,
audition. Send out all the audition invites, go through that. And honestly, you really know, like to me as a casting director, I feel like you really know like the first 30 seconds.
yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I've done it too.
Top 5. And then from there, if it's my own project, then I'll just kind of stay with that group until I narrow it down to the last 2. And like the last 2, 3, if I don't know for sure, I will call them in to do a read with the other people I'm considering to make sure that, the chemistry matches.
Yeah, yeah. Um, do you like to read the notes on Actors Access?
I honestly, I'll look at them, but most of the time they're not
Yeah.
relevant to
I don't
anything.
think anybody yeah, I don't think anybody so, I mean, what are you gonna say? "Listen, I really wanna play this part, and I think I can play this part."
I
It's
think
like, "Oh, great. Take his word for it. He said he could play it."
have you ever seen when people like put their whole life story in the notes and they'll try to
No, really?
like, "Hi, Miss Knox. I'm from New York and I've been doing this and that, and this is my last role, and I really like this. I hope
Takes you
you
5 minutes to read it.
stalk you like on Instagram or Facebook, and then all of a sudden they went and liked all of your pictures
Oh,
and
wow. Oh, seriously?
yeah, like they'll go find you and like I guess they
Hey,
like your pictures, it gives you a better
let's be best friends. That's
yeah.
funny.
Or people
I
that
never thought about that, you're right. They just go in there and like I just liked every single thing you ever did.
mhm,
It had
or
nothing to do with I want the role.
no, my favorite is the ones that try to bully me, like, that's
Oh,
my favorite.
really?
Yeah, I love those because my process is, like, I get too many submissions to,
Yeah.
like, reply back. So if you don't hear from me, you just don't hear from me. Like,
Yeah.
if I the audition or I wanna offer you the part, you're gonna hear from me. I promise you, I'm not gonna forget. But I have people who will submit and they don't
Yeah.
hear anything, so then they come at me and they're like,
Alright.
um, I submitted to you, and I didn't hear anything from you,
It's
or
usually a no. I mean,
like,
it's sad. I mean, I understand how, it's kinda just the way it is. I mean, 1, you're looking at, like, what? How many submissions would you say you're looking at?
oh man, it depends, but
Yeah.
I mean, normally, like the most I think I've gotten for just one role so far has been over 1,200.
Yeah. See, that's a lot. That's a lot of, like,
Hi, Miss Knox. This is my third email to you. I
my
for
3rd oh, really? 3 emails? And they're
people
just asking if they got the role?
they're
Wow.
asking like, am I gonna be able to audition? Like, I'm
Oh, man.
like, I
Wow.
hate to be that person, but if I literally replied back to everybody, I wouldn't be able to get anything done.
No, it's insane. You can't do it.
Like,
It's if you've got a question like timing or something like that, that's a valid question. If your
I
question is just, "Oh, did I get it?" Or I'm sure you get
say I can say, "Oh, I want a white male and I'll get, black, Hispanic, Asian." And the same thing, I can say, "I'd like a black male and I'll have like 30 white guys apply." And I'm like, I feel like y'all aren't reading. Like,
you're not reading it.
you're not reading it. Y'all just hitting submit.
Just like, yeah, you just fit and if you talk to those people, they'll be like, "Well, I just want a chance. I can do anything." It's like, "Yeah, but you can't do anything. You can't unless we're gonna put gobs of makeup on you to make you look 80, you're not gonna be able to play 80. So don't submit for that role."
That's why when people ask me, like, "Is it hard to cast?" I'm like, "No, it's not necessarily hard because you have to weed out so much that doesn't fit, that by the time you get down to, like, what really is in what
Yeah,
you're looking for, it's not as hard because it's like, well, out of 1,000, there was really only 20."
yeah. I talked to a casting director. She told me a story of where they were casting for something major, and they cast off of a self-tape. They brought him in. He froze on set completely. And this was like a huge, like a big, like a recurring role. Like this could have changed his career, and like this is his chance. And he completely froze. And she said she got a call from the producer, like, "You can never hire him again." That's sad because it's like I'm sure he was really good in the self tape, but you gotta be prepared for that. I mean, it's different. You're not gonna be in your living room anymore. Now you're gonna have this guy over here, this guy here. They're gonna be screaming action. You might be all the way over there, and they're gonna, and you gotta do it. But I don't know, I just always look to that thing, and that's the saddest. I bring that up. I'm just saying, you're talking about like weeding out the thing. Like you can weed out the thing, and then something like that can happen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some stuff is just unpredictable at the end of the day, you
Yeah.
know? You gotta kinda try your best, but that definitely can happen.
Yeah.
Definitely can happen because I've even casted some actors who had a great self-tape, and then they showed up, and it was like, "Wait a minute." Like, they either
Oh, wait, we didn't know you were in we didn't know you, couldn't walk. Like,
yeah,
everything's from the front up, and you come in and be like,
yeah, because you have some people who would do that, like, they know they
"Oh,
couldn't
yeah."
do it, and they show up anyway, like, or like,
Or they say, "I can ride a horse. I can do it." You put them in there and like,
they can't.
"Um, I can't actually ride a horse." "Why didn't you tell us that?"
You gonna learn today.
Yeah, or you get somebody, it's like, "We need somebody who speaks, fluent Nigerian language." It's like they come in and like, "Oh, yeah, I know, a couple of words. I did a Duolingo on it." It's like, "Yeah, we're not that's not gonna work." But it's weird, I mean, because, yeah, actors so eager, but sometimes it's like that eagerness gets in the way of like, "Okay, you gotta be realistic, though." You can't if we're looking for somebody who's 6'1", don't come in and be like 4'5".
At the end of the day, I mean, you just gotta, try to apply to things that fit you and understand that
Yeah,
even if that's not today, that doesn't mean it's not gonna be never. So,
exactly.
hey,
You gotta and casting directors are gonna like you a lot more if you are narrowing it down, you're not showing up for every single thing. This casting directors I know have that list of, "Oh, yeah, he signed up for every role."
and once
Even the females.
yeah, but once you've seen somebody audition, you kinda
Yeah,
know certain things, and I don't even have to look anymore. There's some people where I'm like, especially if I've given you multiple
yeah,
chances to
yeah,
audition and you keep bringing me the same audition, I'm like, "Okay, so I'm not going to continue to pull you because for what? This is the same
yeah.
performance I saw 3 auditions ago." So, yes.
You might as well just sent in the last one.
Yeah, like, it's the same, like, there's some actors who are very, like, one note, so no matter
Yeah,
what the part is, it all sounds the same because they just haven't figured that out yet, so
yeah.
I'm like, "No, mm-mm."
I said because you kinda wanna, like, be able to say, like, "This is what's going on." But we live in that world where we can't really do that. Say you did do that. the person would be like, "What do you mean? My acting is perfect. Everything I did was perfect." They turn into like the American Idol thing. It's like, well, we didn't like this. What do you mean? I was
I would
perfect.
never feedback unless you specifically ask for it. And I would before, even if you ask for it,
Yeah.
I would be like, hey, okay, so here's our agreement. I'm gonna tell you this feedback, but you can't come back and try to defend what you did.
Wow, you're nice that you would even give, yeah, most like they're like, I don't have time for that.
I
I've
give
talked to I've talked to people, have repped really famous actors, and they still you don't get feedback because there's just not now with self-taping, it's opened the doors to more, and there's just not enough time, and it might not be good feedback. So
no,
it's
I mean, it can kind of feel like a waste of time.
yeah,
So I think the only reason I do it now is because I like to be understanding that most
yeah.
of the actors that are coming my way are, in the beginning of their career.
New, they don't understand. Yes, so you're just it's a teaching moment for them. So it's
Right. But like now, when we fast forward like 10 years from now and I got all these different films and they're everywhere,
like I mean doing that.
we can't do we
You'll
can't
be doing that. Do
so
you have before we let this go, do you have people that will actually submit for every single role? Is that something that will happen?
absolutely.
Seriously. Like they
Absolutely.
didn't even read it. They just I could play it all.
Absolutely. There's literally people who will apply. And I get on one end, I get it because I've been in
I get it.
been in that
Yeah.
space. But on the other end, I'm like, I think the thing about acting or even just being a professional, one of the things you got to learn is
Knowing what you can do.
knowing what you can do, but understanding, let's be smart about this. Like, let's be
Yeah.
smart about this. Let's not get so eager in, I want to be in something that you
Yeah.
actually think about what you want to be in and if you can even fit that bill. Now, if you
Yeah.
can't apply, by all means apply. But sometimes you have to be realistic. Like I've tried to cast for like teenage roles, like, 17, 18. And I have looking at some of the things, I'm like, come on now. Like you telling me that you thought you
Yeah.
could play 18. Like
You can play, yeah, yeah, you're 50. Oh yeah, don't worry, I can do it.
and it's not even an age thing because you really do have some people in their 20s, 30s
Yeah.
who can pass because they have that young,
Yeah.
vibrant look. But I'm talking about people with wrinkles and gray hairs, like submitting to play 18-year-old. It just doesn't make sense. Like
I'm sure you probably like look at that and just like stop for a minute. Like,
I said, I wish I could do like if I ever had the time or like wasn't worried about being canceled, like I would literally compile all of the crazy like that I got and been like, look at this.
yeah.
I think one of my favorite ones is somebody sent me a music video and it was like the wildest music video I've ever seen. Don't ask me why they sent it to me. I don't know. I think they thought it was like a reel. And the song, it came out like a long time ago and it was funny. It was like by like Ice JJ Fish or something like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think I know.
That's the rapper's name. The song, he looks like really funny. Don't ask me what the song was because I don't remember, but it went
Yeah.
viral for the whole meme.
Yeah.
That's the level of the music video that they sent me. I was like, oh, like I really wanted to like post it and be like, look at this.
Yeah. It's
I
like
never do
what
it.
am I gonna do with this?
I'm like, it was crazy. It had like aliens in it and like
Yeah.
it was a lot going on.
I mean, I did hear of a girl who did do something like that, but it made sense to the project of doing something like that. Whereas if you're just sending in, yeah, a music video and it's like doesn't really call for anything that like there's nothing to do with music. It's like, what are we it's like people that like audition and they'll put like music in the background. It's like, don't do.
Exactly.
You're not highlighting they don't want to see, editing. It's just
It's literally a skill. It's a skill, and that's the other thing too, like, when I watch some self-tapes, I'm like personally, I'm like, how did you look at this and was like, yes, this is the one who I'm sending over. Like I've had people film self tapes like in the bathroom. Like you can like clearly see like their shower or their like
You know
toilet.
where that came from? The guy that did House, he did his audition in the bathroom. And I guess people think, oh, well, House did it, Hugh Laurie. It's like different thing.
And here's the thing though, it only works if you're like super talented. Because if
Yeah.
you're super talented, then
Yeah.
you'll be like, this was really weird that they did this, but I can't even act like the performance wasn't good because it was.
Yeah. But
So
but even but even then, like I've known casting directors said they're like, yeah, I just started looking at their bookshelf and they just started reading the book and they completely, missed the performance. Like it could have been, so it's like you don't want to give like an option for them to look off to something else. Like you said, like the shower. I mean,
get you a little backdrop or find you somewhere that,
yeah,
you self tape it, keep it simple, blue, gray.
yeah. Okay, that about does it for part 4 of my interview with Nachela Knox. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank her personally for coming on. As always, you can find me at Justin Yance. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider checking out the YouTube channel. And I will see you next time on the DMF.